Did you know that in the past few years, the UK has seen a staggering rise in immigrant departures? The very country that once symbolised hope, stability, and endless opportunities for people across the globe is now being abandoned in record numbers. Why? Is it because the dream of a better life here has turned into a nightmare? Or are immigrants finding better prospects elsewhere? Imagine uprooting your entire life, moving across continents, only to realise that staying might be harder than leaving. From soaring housing costs that make owning a home seem like a distant dream, to the crushing impact of anti-immigration sentiment, the reality for many immigrants in the UK is far from the welcoming picture they were once sold. And let's not forget the looming shadow of Brexit, which has created uncertainty and red tape at every turn. What's really going on? Why are people choosing to leave a nation that was once their promised land? In this video, we're uncovering 10 shocking reasons behind this trend. Each reason reveals a piece of the puzzle. Some you may know, but others might completely surprise you. Stay with us as we unravel the hidden challenges and growing pressures driving immigrants to pack their bags and say goodbye to the UK. By the end, you'll see why this exodus isn't just a trend, it's a wake-up call. Let's dive in. Number 1. Cost of living crisis. It's no secret that the UK is currently grappling with a cost of living crisis, but for immigrants, the impact is even more severe. Imagine arriving in a new country, full of hope, only to find that basic necessities like housing, food, and energy are increasingly out of reach. This isn't just about numbers, it's about the harsh realities that many immigrants face daily. Let's start with housing costs. In cities like London, rent for even a modest flat can easily consume more than half of someone's income. And if you're trying to save for a home, forget it. The skyrocketing housing prices mean that owning property is almost impossible for those who don't have significant savings or generational wealth. Immigrants, often starting from scratch, are hit the hardest. Then there's the energy crisis, with bills climbing so high that some families have to choose between heating their homes or putting food on the table. Add to this the rising costs of groceries and transportation, and you've got a recipe for financial strain that pushes many immigrants to their breaking point. What makes it worse is that many immigrants work in low-paying or unstable jobs, often in industries hit hardest by inflation. Without a strong safety net or family support, they're left to fend for themselves in an increasingly unforgiving economy. When faced with these challenges, it's no wonder so many immigrants are deciding they might be better off elsewhere. Countries like Canada or Germany, offering affordable living and support systems, seem far more attractive in comparison. The cost of living crisis isn't just an economic issue, it's a personal one, and for many immigrants, is the first push toward the exit door. Number 2. Economic instability. For immigrants, economic stability is often the primary reason for moving to a new country. But what happens when the very foundation of that stability starts to crumble? In the UK, economic instability has become a major factor driving immigrants to leave. Let's talk about job security. Many immigrants work in sectors like hospitality, retail, or healthcare, industries that have faced massive disruptions in recent years. From the fallout of Brexit to the pandemic, these sectors have seen widespread layoffs, reduced hours, and increased competition for fewer jobs. For those trying to build a better life, this lack of reliability can feel like walking on quicksand. Then there's the issue of wages. While the cost of living continues to climb, wages have largely stagnated. For immigrants sending money back home to support their families, this can be especially devastating. A pound that doesn't stretch far in the UK is even less helpful when converted into another currency. For skilled immigrants, the frustration is different, but no less pressing. Many find their qualifications overlooked or undervalued, forcing them into jobs far below their skill levels. Imagine being a trained engineer or doctor, only to end up in a low-paying role with little opportunity for advancement. Economic instability also breeds uncertainty. With inflation soaring and the possibility of future recessions looming, many immigrants feel that the UK is no longer the secure choice it once was. In contrast, other countries are actively rolling out the red carpet, offering competitive wages, stable job markets, and clear paths to residency. For immigrants, the dream of economic stability is critical. When that dream starts to unravel, it's often the moment they begin looking for opportunities elsewhere. The promise of stability elsewhere is proving too tempting to resist. Number 3. Anti-immigration sentiment. For immigrants, building a life in a new country comes with its challenges, but when those challenges are amplified by a hostile environment, it can feel unbearable. In recent years, the UK has witnessed a rise in anti-immigration sentiment, and for many immigrants, this is a driving factor behind their decision to leave. From political speeches to media headlines, the narrative around immigration has become increasingly polarised. Terms like invasion and overcrowding dominate discussions, painting immigrants as a problem rather than a valuable part of society. For those who came to the UK seeking a better life, these labels are not just disheartening, they're deeply alienating. Government policies have only added fuel to the fire. The introduction of measures like the hostile environment policy has made it harder for immigrants to feel welcome. From landlords being required to check tenants' immigration status to banks closing accounts. These policies often leave immigrants feeling targeted and unwelcome. On a social level, many immigrants face discrimination in the workplace, housing, and even healthcare. Reports of hate crimes have risen in recent years, leaving immigrants to navigate not just economic challenges, but also a sense of social exclusion. The psychological toll of this environment cannot be underestimated. Feeling unwelcome or unsafe in a place you've worked hard to make your home is often the final push for many immigrants to leave. Contrast this with countries like Canada or Australia, where diversity is celebrated, and immigrants are often met with policies designed to integrate and support them. The difference is stark. For many immigrants, the rise in anti-immigration sentiment in the UK has turned what was once a dream destination into an environment that feels anything but welcoming, and for that reason, they're choosing to leave. Number 4. Bureaucratic hurdles. For many immigrants, the journey to building a stable life in the UK is filled with bureaucratic red tape, and it's only getting worse. From complex visa processes to uncertain residency rules, navigating the UK's immigration system can feel like an endless maze with no clear path forward. Let's start with visa challenges. Whether it's applying for work visas, renewing them, or transitioning to permanent residency, the process is often overwhelming and expensive. Fees for visas can run into the thousands of pounds, and for families, these costs multiply quickly. Add to this the long waiting times and frequent policy changes, and you're left with a system that feels more like an obstacle course than a welcoming gateway. The uncertainty doesn't end there. Many immigrants report that the rules are constantly shifting, particularly in the wake of Brexit. EU nationals who once had the freedom to live and work in the UK now find themselves navigating a post-Brexit system that's confusing and restrictive. For non-EU immigrants, the situation can be even more daunting, with strict quotas and limited pathways to citizenship. Even those who manage to secure a visa often face additional hurdles when trying to access services like healthcare, education, or housing. Immigrants are frequently asked to provide extensive documentation to prove their eligibility, adding more stress to an already challenging situation. Compare this to other countries like Germany or New Zealand, where clear, streamlined processes are in place, making it easier for immigrants to feel secure and plan for the future. For many immigrants in the UK, these bureaucratic hurdles are a daily reminder that they're seen as outsiders. The frustration and uncertainty often become too much to bear, prompting them to look for countries that offer clearer and fairer systems. Number 5. Limited opportunities for growth. One of the main reasons immigrants move to the UK is the promise of better opportunities, whether it's advancing their careers, pursuing education, or building a stable future. But for many, the reality has fallen far short of expectations. The UK is increasingly seen as a place where opportunities for growth are limited, leaving immigrants feeling stuck and disillusioned. Take career progression, for example. Many immigrants arrive with strong qualifications and valuable experience, But instead of finding roles that match their skills, they are often funneled into low-paying jobs with little chance of advancement. Industries like healthcare and hospitality rely heavily on immigrant labour, yet many workers report hitting a glass ceiling when it comes to promotions or fair pay. Even highly skilled professionals face significant barriers. Non-recognition of foreign qualifications is a common issue, forcing doctors, engineers, and other experts to either retrain at great expense or settle for roles far below their capabilities. This mismatch between skills and opportunities is not only frustrating, but also economically wasteful. The lack of opportunities extends to education as well. Immigrant families often struggle to afford rising tuition fees for higher education, which can limit the future prospects of their children. In contrast, countries like Canada or Australia actively work to integrate immigrants into their workforce, offering support programs, mentorship opportunities, and clearer paths to career success. For immigrants in the UK, the lack of opportunities isn't just a professional setback, it's deeply personal. When dreams of growth and success start to feel unattainable, many begin to wonder if they'd be better off in a country where their talents and hard work are truly valued. And for an increasing number, that realization leads them to leave. If this video opened your eyes to the challenges immigrants face in the UK, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What surprised you the most? Drop a comment below. And if you appreciate the effort we put into bringing you these stories, please subscribe to our channel. It's just one click, but it means the world to us. Number 6. Healthcare challenges. Access to quality healthcare is a critical factor for anyone deciding where to live. But in the UK, immigrants are finding the system increasingly difficult to navigate. While the NHS has long been celebrated as one of the best public healthcare systems in the world, its current state is leaving many immigrants feeling frustrated and underserved. The first hurdle: long waiting times. With the NHS under immense strain, routine appointments and treatments often come with delays of weeks or even months. For immigrants who may not have private healthcare as an option, these delays can lead to untreated conditions and mounting anxiety. Next, there's the issue of health surcharges. Non-residents are required to pay a hefty immigration health surcharge, IHS, as part of their visa application, which can cost hundreds, if not thousands, of pounds over time. For families, this cost multiplies quickly, creating a significant financial burden even before they've accessed a single service. Additionally, language barriers and cultural misunderstandings can make navigating the system even harder. Many immigrants report feeling dismissed or misunderstood by healthcare providers, leaving them reluctant to seek care unless absolutely necessary. Countries like Canada or Australia, by comparison, offer healthcare systems that are not only more accessible but also more culturally inclusive, with resources specifically designed to help immigrants integrate. For immigrants in the UK, the state of the healthcare system is often a breaking point. When combined with the cost and complications, it becomes clear why so many are looking elsewhere for better and more reliable healthcare options. The NHS crisis isn't just a local issue, it's influencing global perceptions of the UK. And for immigrants seeking a better quality of life, it's a major reason to reconsider their future in the country. Number 7. Education system struggles. For many immigrants, one of the biggest motivations for moving to the UK is to provide their children with access to a world-class education. But the reality of the UK's education system is falling short of those expectations, leaving families disheartened and reconsidering their options. One of the most glaring issues is the rising cost of higher education. University tuition fees in the UK are among the highest in the world, with annual costs often exceeding £9,000 for domestic students, and even more for international ones. For immigrant families, this means facing a heavy financial burden to ensure their children can access the same opportunities as others. Then there's the issue of school placements. In certain areas, schools are oversubscribed, forcing children into institutions far from home or into schools that don't meet parents' expectations. For immigrants unfamiliar with the system, navigating these challenges can feel overwhelming and at times unfair. Language barriers can also play a role in creating uneven experiences for immigrant children. Those who are new to the country may struggle to adapt to the curriculum or integrate socially, and schools often lack the resources to provide adequate support for these students. In contrast, countries like Finland or Canada are known for their inclusive and affordable education systems, offering free or low-cost higher education and robust support for immigrant students. For many immigrant families, the UK's education struggles are a deal-breaker. When dreams of a better future for their children start to feel out of reach, parents begin looking for countries where education systems are not just accessible, but also designed to help children of all backgrounds thrive. The UK's education system, while still respected, is no longer the promise it once was for immigrants seeking a brighter future. Number 8. Cultural barriers and isolation. Moving to a new country is never easy, but for many immigrants in the UK, the struggle goes beyond practical challenges like jobs and housing. The feeling of cultural isolation is a major reason why so many are choosing to leave. For starters, fitting in can be tough. While the UK is known for its diversity, many immigrants find it hard to connect with local communities. Cultural differences, unfamiliar traditions, and even language barriers can create a sense of being othered. For those without strong support networks, this can lead to feelings of loneliness and alienation. Discrimination also plays a role. Many immigrants report experiencing microaggressions or outright racism in their daily lives, whether it's subtle remarks at work, being overlooked for opportunities, or facing bias in public spaces. Over time, these experiences take a toll on mental health and make immigrants feel unwelcome in a country they hoped to call home. The lack of cultural support systems in certain areas exacerbates the problem. While larger cities like London offer vibrant multicultural communities, immigrants living in smaller towns often struggle to find people who share their background or understand their experiences. This isolation can be particularly challenging for families, as children may face difficulties balancing their heritage with fitting in at school. By comparison, countries like Canada and New Zealand invest in integration programs that celebrate cultural diversity while helping immigrants build connections. From language classes to community events, these efforts make immigrants feel included and valued. For many immigrants in the UK, the lack of cultural acceptance and support is a constant reminder that they don't fully belong. It's no surprise that this emotional toll is prompting many to seek out countries where they can truly feel at home. Number 9. Brexit's aftermath. When the UK voted to leave the European Union in 2016, it sent shockwaves around the world, and immigrants were among those most directly affected. Years later, the aftermath of Brexit continues to create challenges, leaving many immigrants feeling uncertain about their future in the UK. For EU nationals, the change has been particularly stark. Before Brexit, they enjoyed the freedom to live, work, and travel across the UK without restrictions. Now, many face visa requirements, lengthy applications, and a system that feels far less welcoming. Even those who secured pre-settled or settled status often worry about the long-term implications, including potential policy changes. But the ripple effects don't stop with EU citizens. Brexit has reshaped the UK's economy and labour market, making it harder for immigrants from all backgrounds to thrive. Many industries that relied on immigrant labour, like agriculture, construction, and hospitality, are struggling to fill roles due to new immigration policies and restrictions. This has created a sense of instability, with fewer opportunities for those who once saw the UK as a land of promise. Brexit also brought about a noticeable shift in the political and social climate. The referendum amplified debates around immigration, with many immigrants reporting an increase in hostility and discrimination in the years following the vote. This has only deepened feelings of alienation for those trying to make the UK their home. Meanwhile, countries like Germany or the Netherlands remain part of the EU, offering immigrants greater freedom of movement and stability. For those seeking a secure future, these countries often seem like a better option. Brexit's legacy isn't just political, it's personal. For many immigrants, the uncertainty and challenges it created are reason enough to look for opportunities beyond the UK's borders. Number 10. Better opportunities abroad. While the UK was once considered a top destination for immigrants, the world has changed. Countries like Canada, Australia, and Germany are stepping up their game, offering better opportunities, more supportive policies, and a higher quality of life. For many immigrants in the UK, the allure of these alternatives is impossible to ignore. One of the biggest draws is clearer immigration pathways. Countries like Canada actively welcome immigrants through programs like Express Entry, offering permanent residency and eventual citizenship in a streamlined and transparent process. In contrast, the UK's immigration system is often criticised for being costly, complicated, and uncertain, leaving many immigrants stuck in limbo. Economic opportunities are another key factor. While the UK's economy has faced instability, other countries are experiencing strong growth and actively seeking skilled workers. For example, Germany's booming tech and engineering sectors offer well-paying jobs, while Australia's labour shortage has created openings in various industries. These countries provide not just jobs, but also clear pathways to career advancement. Then there's the promise of a better quality of life. Many immigrants find that countries like Canada and New Zealand offer a balance of work and leisure with affordable healthcare, better housing options, and safer communities. Policies in these nations often prioritise the well-being of immigrants, making them feel valued and included. For immigrants with families, these countries also provide world-class education systems and programs designed to help children adapt and thrive. Ultimately, the decision to leave the UK often comes down to comparing what's possible elsewhere. When other nations are actively rolling out the welcome mat and offering better opportunities, the choice becomes clear. For many immigrants, the dream of a brighter future lies not in staying, but in starting fresh in a country that truly values their contributions. The UK, once seen as a beacon of opportunity and stability, is now grappling with a wave of immigrant departures. From the soaring cost of living and economic instability to the challenges of Brexit and rising anti-immigration sentiment, the reasons behind this exodus paint a sobering picture. Immigrants who arrived with dreams of a better future are increasingly finding themselves at odds with a system that feels hostile, unstable, and difficult to navigate. At the same time, countries like Canada, Australia, and Germany are offering clearer pathways, better economic prospects, and inclusive societies, making them attractive alternatives. For many immigrants, the decision to leave the UK is not one of anger, but of necessity, a move towards securing the brighter future they envisioned when they first set out on this journey. The trends we've explored highlight deeper systemic issues that need urgent attention. By understanding these challenges, we can spark meaningful discussions about how the UK can adapt, not only to retain immigrants, but also to thrive as a nation that values their contributions. The UK can reverse this troubling trend by making targeted changes to address the key challenges driving immigrants away. Tackle the cost of living crisis. The government needs to implement policies to make housing, energy, and basic necessities more affordable. Building more affordable homes, capping energy prices, and providing targeted financial relief to vulnerable communities, including immigrants, would go a long way toward easing financial pressures. Streamline immigration processes, simplifying visa applications, and creating transparent pathways to permanent residency and citizenship would reduce uncertainty and encourage long-term commitment from immigrants. Lowering visa fees and eliminating unnecessary red tape could also help. Promote inclusion and address discrimination. The UK must work to combat anti-immigration sentiment through education, public campaigns, and stricter enforcement against hate crimes. Building programs to celebrate diversity and support integration can help immigrants feel valued and welcomed. Invest in public services. Strengthening the NHS, improving education access, and addressing labour shortages with immigrant-friendly policies would improve quality of life for everyone. Create opportunities for growth, recognising foreign qualifications, offering career mentorships, and incentivising industries to support immigrant talent can unlock immense potential while benefiting the UK economy. By addressing these issues, the UK can transform itself into a place where immigrants not only want to stay, but can also thrive, contributing to a brighter and more inclusive future for the nation. Thank you for staying with us till the end. What do you think? Can the UK turn things around for immigrants? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to check out our previous video for more eye-opening insights. We pour our hearts into creating these videos, so please support us by subscribing to our channel. It's just one click, but it means the world to us. See you in the next one.